my jewels. We are back with another week of Jewel TV. I'm come up with a jingle now, yo. Come on, y'all watch. Y'all. I hope y'all had a good week thus far. Mine has been super duper busy, but here I am. I am here. I'm committed to come with these videos each and every week. Drop that knowledge. You already know. So last week we spoke about those red flags in relationships, friendships. You know what I mean. You should know by now. And this week we're going to be talking about those factors that are behind the reasoning why we ignore or even miss those red flags in those relationships. So yeah, we're gonna get into this. Why do we ignore it? Why do we just accept it? Like I said, there's some reasons behind that. So this week I have 10 reasons. And not in any particular order. We're just gonna go through them, and then topic. So, reason number 1: why do we ignore or miss red flags? Numero 1: low self-esteem. So, low self-esteem is a big factor in a lot of issues that we get into anyway. But low self-esteem. So you feel low about yourself. You don't really know your worth. You don't know who you are. And you don't think you're worthy of being treated properly. And low self-esteem can start creeping in at a very young age. I know for me, low self-esteem crept in probably around middle school-ish. As you know, in my community, what's in is the hourglass body, the big booty, the big titties. And yeah, I didn't have all that. I was a stick, really skinny, all the way up through high school. And I didn't really start gaining any extra weight until like after my second child, not even my first child, my second child. So, I dealt growing up. You hear the jokes, whatever, you got no butt, blah, blah, blah. So, a lot of that played on my self-esteem. I started, though, other people, they would say, you're so pretty, whatever. Like, I didn't really believe that I didn't believe that I was worthy to be loved properly. I didn't really have an example in my household of how a man is to treat a woman. Whether they look like the hourglass body or they didn't. I didn't have that example. And compared to my other cousins, they all had body. They all still have body. And it's something that played on my low self-esteem, period. And, even some things that, my own family would say would just bring me down and make me feel though it wasn't their intention, it would just make me feel like, okay, like nobody gonna really want me for who I am. Like what do I have that's so great? What is so great about me? So a lot of the times we have low self-esteem and we allow people to mistreat us. We accept things, we accept inappropriate behavior towards us. And why? Because we don't think that we deserve better. So that is a reason. And then we also feel like we need somebody. We need somebody to validate us. The world don't really validate us, the majority of the people. But if I can find one person who is just so into me or who wants me, then I'll give them my all. And you know what? Men especially, they know that, they sense that, they prey on that sometimes. And they could sense a girl with low self-esteem right away, sense a girl with daddy issues right away, and they prey on them, and because they know, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that one quicker than I can with the others. So beware, check your self-esteem, because there's a lot of times it's the reason why we ignore those red flags. So that was number 1. Number 2 is economic trouble, lack of money. And this one I see a lot, and particularly with sex trafficking. You know, the older men, I've heard from girls who've gotten out of it that, you know, they found an older man, say they're about 16, 17, they find a 23-year-old, comes around, offers them what they don't have, offers them the finances, and the resources that they just can't get on their own or from their parents. And, you know, it draws them in. You know, I could buy you a phone, I can pay for your phone bill, you know, you can ride around with me, whatever, I got a car. And sometimes that lures us in, and it makes us ignore those red flags and be like, well, I like these nice things, I like being able to be pampered, and sometimes people know that, and they use their money to control you. Remember, control was a red flag, and a lot of the times we can be controlled by another person who has what we don't have. So that's another factor. There's a thing, like I mentioned in another video, financial abuse, and the person uses their finances to abuse you in a way. Like, okay, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, then I'm gonna cut you off. And you know, you're so used to getting things. And a lot of the women, like I said, in sex trafficking, they stay because they're like, well, you know, I'm getting housing, I'm getting, you know, I'm fed every day, you know, I have the things that I want, nice clothes, nice jewelry. And a lot of the times they get sucked in, because nobody wakes up and say, hey, I want to be sex trafficked today. But a lot of the times that's how the older men draw in the younger women. So be careful, guys, about wanting to be close to someone or next to someone, or allow someone to treat you a certain way just because they have finances. And sometimes they do because, hey, that's all I have and that's what I need right now. So that's another factor: economic trouble, lack of money. Number 3 is simply, we just don't know the facts. We're just ignorant to what is out there. And that's another personal one that I was just so naive. Like, you know, like, how many of us know the statistics of domestic violence and falling into these abusive relationships? 1 in 4 women throughout the US fall into these situations. 1 in 4 women, that is a lot. But no one ever taught me, you know, the statistics, you know, what's around you, the society around you. I had no clue. Now, I knew it existed, like these things happen, but me, I always was like, that would never happen to me. I would never let a man put their hands on me. See if I stay. I fell victim. Why? Because I didn't know my worth. I had that low self-esteem. I didn't know those warning signs and those red flags. I didn't know the factors that came into, you know, me ignoring these things. So a lot of ignorance and just not knowing enough. I was very sheltered as a kid. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go to no parties. Couldn't do anything. I really just stayed in the house with me and my grandmother. And you know, after school, the kids would go out, hang out. Yeah, I wasn't allowed to do that. So there's a lot of things that I was blind to. A lot of just regular social behaviors that I just wasn't hip to, because I was so sheltered. So a factor is just not knowing the facts, not knowing those statistics, not knowing your environment around you and what's around you, and how likely it is for you to fall in if you don't know how to protect yourself. So, ignorant to the facts. Number 4, why we miss or ignore red flags, is we in love, or we in lust, or we're infatuated with somebody. What does that mean? When you first meet someone, you go, oh, that person is fine. Oh, like look at the way they walk, look at the way they talk, look at the way. And you know, I feel every relationship starts out that way. Every even friendship feels great. You know, you jumping in. Okay, this is good. This is, you know, this doesn't seem so bad. This person looks good. That's good. Yeah. Sometimes we're so infatuated, so blinded, even so in love, that we accept, you know, these abusive behaviors. We accept people treating us badly because we want to see the good in people. You know, we love somebody so bad, we're like, okay, maybe we can, like I said in the last video, maybe I can change them. You know, they love me, right? I love them. So that is a reason, or you just so googly-eyed that you don't even care that this person call you out your name all the time or whatever, but you just like, well, the sex is good, and you know, they look good, and they make me feel good sometimes. Yeah, that's a factor that we want to check sometimes. Don't let somebody look cloud the fact that they just a horrible person on the inside. And they may not automatically be horrible to you right away, but watch how people treat their own family. Watch how people treat their friends or whatever. What was the past situation with you and your ex? Like, what happened with that? Like, what? Yeah, we want to know those things. We want to really get to know the inside of somebody before we're just so blinded by the outside and their outside appearance. So though, that is number 4. Another factor is embarrassment or shame. You know, you don't want nobody to know what you are going through. You are ashamed that you even felt. Now, that was me as well. Like I said, I was the one, big mouth one that let somebody put their hands on me. See, now you think I'm gonna go and be quick to tell somebody that I am in an abusive relationship, or somebody who I was so infatuated with and talking so big and highly about? You think I'm gonna feel embarrassed? I did feel embarrassed. I was like, I talked so highly about this person, and now I'm gonna look stupid if I go and tell my father or my uncle, like, yeah, they actually like putting their hands on me. They are, you know, ruining my stuff. They're isolating me. It's a factor of why we just ignore sometimes, or we stay in things longer, or we stay in these relationships or these friendships longer than we have to, is because sometimes it's shameful and it's embarrassing. But I'm here to tell you that don't come from the Lord. And when you start to just really hold your head up and be like, you know what? Yeah, I got into this, but so what? I need to get out. So I'm gonna say it and I'm gonna speak it. And you may feel embarrassed, you may feel ashamed at first, but that feeling doesn't last always. It's gonna go. So yeah, that's another factor why we stay in things longer than we have to, or we don't share what's going on, and so we just accept those red flags. So another factor, number 6, is fear. So I have fear of the truth. I have actual just fear of the person, and then denial. So let's talk fear. You are afraid of upsetting your significant other, upsetting your friend, that you just, okay, I'll stay out, all right? I'm not gonna talk about what you just did. You know, I'm not gonna talk about how you just played me in front of everybody, or that you know, cheated, whatever the case, whatever the fact, the flag is. But you're just afraid to bring it up because you don't want the drama. And I know with me, that was one of the things I was just like, listen, let me just be quiet and and you know, not get this person upset, because I don't want to get in another fight. I don't want to have to deal with my stuff getting broken, clothes thrown, you know. And so fear sometimes stifles us, and we're like, ugh, and we ignore that red flag. We just accept it and just say, okay. And then the fear of the truth. So it kind of ties into the embarrassment and the shame, and it's like, when it really hits you, like, did I really just get myself into this? Did I really, like, have this person in my life who treated me so horrible? Like, is this my truth right now? And sometimes the truth is, it hurts and it's scary and it's nasty and it's ugh. And sometimes we don't want to face it. We don't want to face the truth. It's a true fear, like, oh God, is this really the truth of what I'm going through right now? So that's another factor. And then you're just in denial. You're in denial of what you're in. And denial can tie into so many of those other things. Denial can tie into the love. Like, no, they're not that bad because I'm so infatuated, I'm so in love, or I'm, you know, the lust is there. So that's another factor. Moving on to number 7. And I know some of the numbers have more than one in it, but you know, I just put them together. Number 7. Why do we ignore or miss the red signs? And number 7 factor is culture. In your culture, men are dominant. Men can throw their weight around, and you're just the woman. You're below, you're beneath, and that's your role. Know your role, stay in your role. And sometimes culture, you know, we accept it as a norm. We accept it as, you know, how things are supposed to be. So this is why we stay, or we accept the behavior that's clearly toxic. And then religious reasons. I know a lot of people who are like, okay, I'm in this abusive relationship, but I'm married, and I believe that, you know, you're not supposed to go through divorce. And so sometimes that's the reasons why we just ignore what's going on, or we really miss what's going on because, well, we're not supposed to divorce anyway. I'm supposed to try to figure this out, and you know, we're gonna work it out, and we're gonna be fine. And sometimes that's not the case. So, factor number 8. We think we can change a person, aka wishful thinking. Yeah. 9 times out of the 10, you can't change the person, and you can't. Sometimes we wait around and say, you know, he's gonna change for me. You know, that person's gonna change for me. Like, what? You know, they love me, so they're gonna have to change for me. A lot of the times, especially grown men and grown women, it's when you're stuck in your ways, and it's hard to change the ways of somebody who's just used to being that way for years and years and years. So we have wishful hope and wishful thinking that they're going to eventually change. And you know, with me, I thought I could change this person. I've seen my dad when I was growing up. He had a long-time girlfriend, and I believe she thought eventually he would change for the better. And, you know, my dad is still my dad, you know, still in his ways, still stuck in your ways. So it's very hard to change somebody, especially a grown man who's already been raised by his mama or whoever. So yeah, that's another factor of why we end up in these situations. Number 9. Remember, there's 10 to do number 9. So the red flags seem minor. So yeah, when we was arguing, you know, he had something in his hand. He just quickly threw it at me. It didn't really hurt me that much. You know, it's not that bad. No, those little things that we see minor, they grow. They grow. Oh, you know, he got angry and banged on the table a little bit. You know, but he never hit me before. You know, that's just something small, that's something minor. But you know, you minimizing the temper problem and the anger problem because, well, you know, it's not that bad. And sometimes it's a factor behind why we end up in these situations, and we ignore. You know, we brush that to the side because, well, it could be worse, right? And so we don't want to get to the it could be worse part, or we don't want to get to the worst part. So just be mindful. That's a factor. And then my final factor of why we ignore these flags, why we accept them, why we tolerate them, because the person apologized. Yeah, that was a common one, and is a common one just statistically, that abusers, toxic people who want you around and, you know, think they could treat you anyway, but would do anything to keep you, they apologize. They apologize, and they think that their apology wipes clean of what they did, and they can move on. And if they do it again, oops, my bad, let me apologize again. And whoa, toxic behavior. And a big factor, sometimes we are so gullible and so accepting and so forgiving. And it's okay to forgive, but you know, as far as accepting and taking back and tolerating it, that's a no-no. Okay, so you don't have, just because somebody apologizes and you could forgive them, doesn't mean you gotta tolerate their toxic behavior. No ma'am, no sir. So that is my final one. I think that one's the biggest one because you know, sometimes we accept so many apologies and people do it over and over and over again. But don't say sorry if you're going to do it again. Okay? So, those are the ones that I identified. Those factors of why we end up accepting these things and ignoring these flags and end up in bad relationships and bad friendships overall. So those are the 10, guys. 10 factors. I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. I hope that you gained some type of knowledge and you can take it with you throughout your journey in life, because like I said, nobody ever taught me these things. I've never had a mentor that, you know, will warn me of, okay, you know, this type of behavior from a man is not acceptable, or, you know, this type of behavior from a person is, you know, that jealousy, or, you know, they're a little controlling or manipulative. Like, nobody ever talked to me about this stuff. So that's why I'm so passionate of just getting it out there, bringing awareness to the situation, not just to abuse period, but let's dig deeper on why we ending up in this stuff. Why are we accepting, or why is it so hard to leave? So I hope that it was informational to you guys, educational to you guys. And next week we're gonna jump into, okay, we fell into these things, we got into this thing. I feel love on myself. I don't know. I'm about to pour back into y'all and remind y'all who y'all are. Who you are. You are great. You are yeah, it's gonna be some encouragement in the next video, because we're not gonna stay here for long. You know why? Because we got each other. I'm here for you, and we're gonna get out whatever toxic situation that we're in. And how we're gonna do that, we're gonna build each other up. I'm gonna build you up, and by the time you're done with my next video, you're gonna walk out with a whole new attitude, a higher level of self-esteem, knowing that you are worthy. So I'll see y'all next week, my jewels. Till next time.